Hello, I am running on 2 hours of sleep, and so I have Laura off to my side waiting for me to mess this up big time, and I probably will oblige. We had talked about last time, and it's been a hot minute since I've done one of these. We've been extremely busy. And I had the xylophone out, and I explained about just kind of how the world tries to make you follow its story for the convenience of the world. And it occurred to me the other day, I better do another one of these because I've had like 10 different people approach me recently. And I thought, okay, I need to get one of these done. And one of the reasons we haven't been getting as many of these done is that we have been inundated with funerals of varying different degrees of types of death. And I think sometimes people don't think about how that reflects on us personally when we deal with this. As well as the people in the mortuary sciences who have to deal with the families, recovering the bodies, prepping the bodies, and meeting the needs of everybody involved. And so it's been kind of something I've put off for that reason too, because I didn't want to speak to you under, not duress, but under situations that are kind of intense would be the word, not tense, intense. So it occurred to me that part of why people have a hard time unlearning the story that has been created for them, what you call your life, your personality, all the things we've talked about, your ego basically is in charge of this meat suit, and you're taught to only listen to that ego, which is operated through the brain. And the reason the world can control you at the level it can, or most people, is that you have been trained to be deathly afraid of death. You weren't born being afraid to die. You weren't born in a state of like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die any second. You had natural reflexes, you had instincts, you had all the things you needed right at birth to be a successful human. What happens is, as I've told you in the past, the world starts telling you a story. It starts with your parents were told by their parents, and it goes way back. So if you think about that, that story goes back to the very beginning of humans and the way that we know humans. We are in a time right now, I believe, and I think most of you are starting to feel it, and maybe that's part of why I wasn't supposed to do this soon too, because I imagine by now, most of you are getting an extreme sense of things are really weird on our planet. And I believe that the planet is shifting how we're going to be humans, what that's going to look like, and we're in a balancing act right now of, are we going to be more transhuman, or are we going to stay human and figure out a way to make this work? I believe that the evil in this world is going to work on convincing young people especially that the only way to go, the only way to save everybody from all the ickiness that's created, and by the way, the evil in the world is what's creating this, not us, not you, like 1% of humanity. They're convincing young people that the only way to save everything is to do it differently, extremely differently. Don't be a human, don't be a complete human. You just have to change who you are, what you believe. Don't believe them. Everybody's being pitted against each other. And that's called divide and conquer. So divide and conquer is you get all the people that are factions in their own right, and right now it's like transgender, it's, the gay agenda, the straight agenda, the whatever, Republican, Democrat, religions, all of it. Every side thinks they're right, and the truth of the matter is nobody's right. Nobody is right. When you unlearn yourself, you start to figure that out. You figure out there is no right and there is no wrong. And you'll say, but Tammy, that's not true because this, and this. And if you go deep enough in that and you ask yourself enough questions, you'll figure out that someone taught you that. You had to be taught what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad. So like when I had that spectrum for you, that line of duality, good and bad, they're almost the same thing on both ends of the spectrum. So when your creator looks at that, that's not any emotion involved. It's just, okay, they'll get this figured out. Neutral. Your creator is in neutral, waiting for you in neutral. No judgment. Don't judge others. Don't judge yourself. Now, that doesn't mean you can do evil things to people. There is evil. That is reality. But when you start judging others or yourself, and you say, well, that's good, that's bad, this is pure, this is not, you're kind of taking on the role of your creator. Not kind of, you are. But that brings you nothing but unhappiness. So if you really want to get to a place where you can truly start to unlearn this story, and it is just a story, you're following the lines of a storyline that you believe. And I'm not saying that it's all wrong. It isn't. Some of it probably is right and works for you, but a lot of it I bet doesn't. So here's the thing you have to do. You have to say, if I get rid of my titles, am I a mom? Is that all I am? No. Am I a daughter? Well, is that all I am? No. Am I a friend? Am I a woman? Am I whatever? I know that if all those go away, so if I wasn't a mom, if I wasn't someone's daughter, if I wasn't someone's friend, if I wasn't someone's niece, if I wasn't someone's employee, coworker, whatever, would I still be me? And the answer is yes, because the me that I really am is not those things. Those are just titles, and they're part of a story. And they're part of a story that I either participate in or I don't. And the same is true of you if you really stop and look at it. But you have to go inward. Everybody keeps looking outside of themselves for answers. They look to the news that is controlled. All of the news that you can see on any station anywhere that has paid advertising is controlled. Their scripts are even scripted to the word. Everything that is chosen, I don't care if you look at the Democratic side or the Republican side or whatever, they're using the same terminology because it's the same evil creating the same terminology and the same problems of pitting people against each other. Because here's the thing, when you really start to understand that story is to benefit someone else or something else evil, you start to realize that if I continue to live within the story and believe everything about the story, I'm really adding to the fuel to the fire, or the evil, if you will, by making choices based on emotions that were created in me by that propaganda. And I choose to believe it or not. You have to go inside. You have to go inside yourself and very quietly start to be truthful with yourself. What do I really believe? What am I really doing to add to this? While I'm on this planet, am I adding to the pollution? Am I adding to the toxicity? Am I adding to the judgment? Or am I lifting people up? Am I trying to catch myself at my worst and say, whoa, let's back this train up and let's take a look. Do we need to take another track? It's always up to you. As we go forward into some really uncertain times, and I believe our economy is going to tank, I believe the world is going to go into all kinds of catastrophes that we've never experienced before. The truth of the matter is, no matter what goes on, you are you. Your soul is your soul. Unless you give that away, that is an eternal thing. You are a spark of your creator. You wouldn't be alive in a meat suit and doing stuff if you weren't. So you can choose to start to do the hard work of looking inward and saying, what am I doing to contribute to all of this? And if I can face that and admit that and forgive myself for that, then I sure as heck can do it for other people. If we all could start doing that, things would change. Not everyone will. A lot of people are going to continue to look outside of themselves, and they're going to look for someone to rescue them. They're going to look for a savior. They're going to look for something other than the true spark of faith that's inside of them. They're not going to trust their intuition, which was created only in humans and animals. Mammals have intuition. You, as a human, have a higher level of it. But if you continue to pollute your body with the chemicals that are being put into us unwillfully by us, if you continue to believe the media and the things they tell you, and that's a toxic form of, hurting you also. If you continue to listen to people who continually bring you down and never lift you up, if you continue to judge people, put them down, and never lift them up, you are only going to go deeper and deeper into this chasm of evil. But if you can start to climb out by starting with yourself, forgiving yourself, letting go of the past, don't worry about the future, stay completely in the moment. The more you can do that, the more at peace you'll be. And I've talked to you about vibration and the different vibrations we put out in the world. We truly could turn this thing around. It doesn't take 100% of us. It takes people with a strong compassion, love, and vibration to get things to change. That's why when people come into this shop, they oftentimes say, it just feels so different in here. It's a space. It's just a space that's been blessed because we've been blessed, and we try and share that with you. So that's where today's lecture is going to end, kids. I wish you all love, I wish you all light, but mostly I wish you peace and inner strength and a knowing, a real knowing of yourself. I'm sending you lots of love.